Good morning and welcome to Waking Up with Don. I have an old friend of mine here on the show today. We have Dr. Hashim Mubarak, who's a local cardiologist and just a real cool guy to talk to. Doc, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, and please specify old friend, not in terms of age, right?
Yeah, I say that to people. And yeah, that's right. He's a very young, youthful, vigorous guy,
Sure.
despite the gray hair. Okay, well, but we talk about heart health in terms of men all the time because they call it the silent killer. You would have a heart condition you may not know about and be walking around with and die instantly from a heart attack. But women have to be concerned about that too. It's not just limited to men, is it?
Absolutely. In fact, there's a problem among the population, both men and women. Let me tell you a fact that might actually surprise you, that a woman has more chance to die of a heart attack much more than she would die from a breast cancer. So although women concentrate more on breast cancer, and of course they should. Also, another problem that in the past, most of the studies that looked at heart disease and the progression and a lot of things in that regard, they did not have enough women in the study to be able to make us able to judge how much women are affected by heart disease. And then finally, the fact that men would get heart attacks usually 10 years before women made it for women, well, we are not going to have heart disease. We need to concentrate on other issues like breast cancer.
So it sounds like, it's kind of unintentionally biased toward men when we talk in terms of, heart health.
Absolutely, and it is different in terms of risk factors. If you look at, for example, the main risk factors, the family history, smoking, high blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol, we see that, for example, the cholesterol issue is less important for women, especially before menopause, than for men. On the other hand, diabetes is more important for women than men.
Why is it less important for women?
Well, I don't think anybody knows for sure, but diabetes, for example, if a young middle-aged woman has diabetes, she would reach the same level of men. You remember that there's 10 years men ahead of women with heart disease. Well, they lose that for women who have diabetes.
Oh, so they're right up there on par with the men if they have diabetes.
Exactly. So we have to be extra careful. In older women, post-menopausal, and again, old here is a relative thing.
Right.
Is, for example, the cholesterol becomes more issue than for younger women. So there's always things different. The presentations, for example, of heart disease. Women would get more abdominal pain, neck pain, and shoulder pain than men. So this, what we call atypical presentation. So you have to be careful and don't ignore. That's honestly what we see in the hospitals. Men and women, but probably more women also, according to the statistics that I didn't make, that they ignore it and they procrastinate. Oh, it must be my stomach, my hiatal hernia, my acid reflux. I cannot have heart disease. So they ignore it and wait. And if you have a heart attack, time is very essential, very crucial. The earlier you come to the hospital, the better we can help you.
So don't ignore those signs. We have to run off to a break right now. But let's talk more about what women in particular can do to keep their hearts healthy. We'll be right back after these messages and your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm. westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to Waking Up with Don. I'm speaking with Dr. Hashim Mubarak, a local cardiologist. Doc, we were talking about women's health, and in particular women's heart health. What can women do to stay healthy, or what should they be looking for?
For example, in that regard, actually, men and women, if you want to prevent something, you need to know whether you have the risk factors for it. For example, high blood pressure and diabetes. Initially, it may not have any symptoms. I tell people who have headache when the blood pressure is high that they are lucky because they have a good warning sign. But a lot of people, they may have diabetes or high cholesterol or high blood pressure, and they don't know about it. So they have to go and get those things checked every once in a while. Blood pressure is easier. You have it at local stores, Publix, Winn-Dixie, Walmart.
You can get a little
Yeah,
low
you can
pressure
buy a
cuff.
machine or use your neighbor or mother's machine or
Right.
something and check it. And the number, for example, 140/90 is considered high. It should be less than 140/90. And in fact, if you have diabetes or kidney failure, it should be even lower than that, lower than 130/80 or at least lower than 135/85. So you need to check your blood pressure. That's very easy. In terms of sugar and cholesterol, if you don't have any of those things, you need to check them every few years by doing a blood test. So check with, of course, maintaining weight. I mean, unfortunately, obesity is becoming an epidemic in America. So you have to look at your ideal weight. The BMI, which is the kilograms, the weight.
Body mass index.
Body mass index should be ideally less than 25. You probably qualify for that. I don't. I'm a little bit higher than that. So
I'm a little on the chubby side.
so it should be less than 25 ideally. Between 25 and 29, there is increased risk. If it is above 29, you are at very high risk. So maintain your ideal weight, no smoking, alcohol in moderation, cut down on the salt, eat more vegetables, more fruits, more whole grains, more fibers, and of course more fish, more white meat than red meat. So all these things that make sense. Prevention actually does work, and I see it all the time. I've been in practice many years, 28 years almost now, and I honestly see it in my practice.
So you are an old friend then.
Yes.
So you've seen this stuff present itself over the years, and people who change their lifestyles will see benefits.
Absolutely.
From that.
The effect, for example, about stopping smoking, the effect of stopping smoking is absolutely essential. It works, it does work for the heart. Of course, it does work for the lungs and so on. But when you stop smoking, you are decreasing your risk to have a heart attack, to have sudden cardiac death.
And the numbers and statistics will back that up.
Absolutely.
Of course. And what you said in the beginning of the interview was very telling, that more women will die of heart attacks than breast cancer. But but you do see much more in the media about breast cancer than you do about women dying of heart attacks.
Exactly. And that's a bias we need to correct. We do not need to ignore breast cancer. Of course, we need to concentrate on cancer in general, in men and women, and screening for that. Also, preventing cancer is better than treating it. But also do not ignore heart disease just because you're a woman. Oh, I cannot have heart disease. I'm a woman. I'm protected. So it's not true.
So everybody's susceptible. Dr. Mubarak, we're out of time, but thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us some tips on women's heart health. And you are welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this message from Zenobia, giving you your Max Biz tip for today.
Hot, hot, hot. 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 Are your business systems hot? Are your systems hot? Are you improving in profitability? Are you going to the next level in cash flow? Are you eliminating the waste and frustration? Or are you the entrepreneur or the business owner and you're frustrated because you're doing everything by yourself and you're saying to yourself, there has to be a better way. Listen, that better way is my Max Out Lab Business Training Volume 3 entitled Business Systems Are Hot. Listen, at this training, we're going to be sharing with you how you can make money and work less by creating brilliant business systems. I'm going to train you how to become a business systems thinker. I'm going to also show you how to have automated sales and marketing through business systems. Systematic client attraction. Can't we all use more clients? Listen, if that is you, I encourage you to meet me right here inside the Max Out Studios on April the 26th at 10 a.m. The cost is only $89, my friend. Business systems are hot. Listen, if you register right now today, I'm going to give you my Max Out I Want It All book. Inside this book, there is a wealth of knowledge to maximize your business, your relationships, your finances. If you register today, right now, all you got to do is go to www.zenoviaandrews.com, and the cost again is only $89. I've got faith that you're going to take action right now, easily by going to www.zenoviaandrews.com. And hey, my friend, let's continue to press towards the max.
Welcome back to the show. I have two old friends of mine here from Emerald Pathways. We have Glenn and Sherry Eckert. Human trafficking is a problem along the Gulf Coast, and it's a human tragedy that's going on worldwide. These are two people who are trying to stop this scourge from spreading and getting it out of our community. Welcome to the show, guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know this is a serious subject, and I try to keep it lighthearted here, but you know, we have to do something about these poor people that have, wound up in, for lack of a better term, slavery or of slave-like conditions. Could you define for me what human trafficking really is?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the key thing is understand there's two pieces to human trafficking. There's the sex trafficking that everybody sees on TV and hears about. There's also labor trafficking. Labor trafficking is actually a larger problem in our area. Sex trafficking is a problem with anybody who has internet. It really is that accessible at this point in time. But the labor trafficking varies anything from hotel work that could be potentially doing that to magazine tours and sales crews that are coming door to door. But the key thing behind it is it's always involving force, fraud, and coercion. So these people are indeed slaves, but they're often slaves with chains that aren't visible. They're being bound.
So it's really not an overt kind of thing where you grab someone and put them into slavery. It's more of
A mind
covert
control.
and a mind control and an economic situation that's a no-win for them.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And how does that exhibit itself here on the Gulf Coast? You had mentioned that maybe.
Well,
sex
last week is kind of an example. We had the magazine tours, our hotline that we have a 24/7 hotline. We received over 15 phone calls from different neighbors in our community about these young adults coming to their door selling these magazines, and that is a form of labor trafficking. Not everybody comes to your door as a victim, so we have to kind of process that. That's an example.
Right. So not everybody who sells magazines is a victim.
Is a victim, no.
But some may be.
Correct.
We've rescued over 20 of them in the past 3 years, so that have been victims of
How do
that.
people find themselves in these situations?
It's a really easy recruit. There's a lot of, the average age is 18 to 26 for the magazines in particular, what we're talking about here. And I say magazines, but it could be jerseys, it could be cleaning supplies, it could be something else. But they want a job. And right now during the economy when it's hard to get a job, they find this ad or somebody tells them about this great job where they're going to travel, they're going to live in these awesome hotels, they're going to have fun with friends, they're going to party, they're going to have this great time. After not being able to get a job because they could have something bad on their record, it could be as simple as a marijuana bust a couple of years back, so now they can't get a job easily, they can't find the job that they want.
So you get young people who are basically in desperate circumstances looking for work.
And it becomes really easy recruit.
So then someone comes along and it's like, okay, sign here. Do they sign a contract? Is that
Not
what happens?
always.
No?
It depends on the
There's
company.
usually no paperwork involved. It's just, are you 18? Yes, get on the van.
And they take them to another city and
As far away as possible, or they buy them a bus ticket. Most often, if you call in and say, I'm interested in this type of work, they'll buy a bus ticket and they'll get you really far away from your hometown as fast as possible, which
geez.
isolates them and disorients them very quickly.
That's awful stuff. Well, we need to run off to a break, but on the other side of that, let's talk about maybe substance abuse too. I'm sure that plays a role in some of this misfortune that some of these young people are falling into with human trafficking. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm speaking with Glenn and Sherry Eckert about human trafficking, and they head up an organization called Emerald Pathways. We were talking about individual people, how they wind up in these desperate circumstances, and they may not have those family supports. Is that where Emerald Pathways comes in to
Emerald
rescue
Pathways,
people?
what we're set up to do is meet the immediate needs of victims, and as our organization. So what we look for to shelter them and to maybe get them a bus ticket home and to often feed them. That's what Emerald Pathways does. But our coalition, which is the Northwest Florida Human Trafficking Coalition, will address the vast needs of the victim, like the ongoing needs. So
like drug abuse, I would imagine, would be a factor in that.
absolutely.
I mean, you're far away from home. Maybe you've got a little drug problem. You may be losing your grip on what's right, wrong, or reality.
Sex trafficking often involves drug abuse of some sort. And
So that requires the help of a coalition with people who can specialize in those type of rehabilitative services, because that's not necessarily what you all do.
it also allows us to go after the prosecution of the offender who's ever trafficking. So our coalition focuses on both, not just the victim first, but the victim, but also go after the person that's trafficking them. So we're law enforcement also based.
Now, you have an event coming up right now where people can actually support your efforts at First Baptist. Sunday night?
Yep, Sunday night. Sunday night, it starts at 5 o'clock. We open the doors for it itself. Eric Estrada's coming in town for Finding Faith. Finding Faith is a movie.
The Eric Estrada?
The
like
Eric
Chips?
Estrada
Like
from
Punch?
Chips.
Yeah.
Punch. Yes,
All right.
he's supporting it from the Safe Surfing Foundation. The first hour from 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock, we've got now the coalition, we were just saying, is many agencies. Well, the agencies will be out there. There's over 20 agencies that are part of it. At least a dozen of them are going to have tables and information booths set up out in the church.
So 6 o'clock.
The movie starts.
Movie
6
starts
o'clock.
at 6 o'clock.
So, but the event starts at 5. Is
5
that right?
o'clock.
Correct.
At First Baptist Church, right downtown here in Panama City.
On Grace Avenue.
And on Grace Avenue. And Eric Estrada is going to be there.
He's going to be there answering questions and taking pictures.
Now, he's an expert in this area now, too. This is one of his favorite charities. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, he's leading the Safe Surfing Foundation as their celebrity endorser and person who's involved. He's very heavily involved in this and very knowledgeable of the threats from the internet-based, because the movie is based on a true story where the young lady was taken due to her internet searches. So it's a pretty impressive deal.
So Eric Estrada, although he played a law enforcement officer on Chips, really is a law enforcement officer in real life now and takes this very seriously, doesn't he?
Absolutely, that's what I understand. He is very serious on this and very important, dear to his heart. I'd love to have people come out. Again, the seats are free. You can't beat free.
The event is free.
Can't beat free, and it's just an educational time. You get out there and learn about that and how to prevent it. And, maybe people don't see the signs of someone who's being human trafficked, if that's a proper term.
Yes.
Learn a little about it, know how to identify it, know how to report it, and maybe you'll save someone's life.
Right.
6 o'clock, First Baptist Church. Come out, see Eric Estrada, see you guys, learn about human trafficking.
Yep. And leading up to the event, we all have another piece as well. Harley Davidson here locally is supporting a ride to get there. So if anybody wants to join in on that, at Harley Davidson at 3 o'clock is registration. 4 o'clock kickstands up,
On
and
Sunday?
then you ride on Sunday.
And they ride out to the church
and they'll ride out
for
to the church.
event.
And that's a $10,
So-
and that goes to the immediate needs of victims. That money all goes to the immediate needs
Well,
of victims.
Harley's always involved in
They
something
are,
good
they are.
around here. Guys, thanks so much for coming on the show. We're just so out of time.
Okay.
But we'll look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday night out there at First Baptist at 6 o'clock Sunday.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll be right back after these messages and the musical stylings of James Johnson.
This next song that I'm going to do was written by myself and a fellow named Michael Kelly that we were sitting around thinking about back in the Prohibition days. My uncle used to be a beverage agent, and I was talking to him and asked him, what it was like, and he said that one of the most heartbreaking things about being a beverage agent back then was the families that really needed to survive. That's all they were trying to do, and it was kind of a moving story for him to tell me, and so we wrote a song about it. Just kind of put our minds in that mindset, and it's called "Brewing Sour Mash," and it's about having to brew some sour mash in this area. So, hope you like it.
He was a poor boy trying to make ends meet. All his crops had died in the Florida summer heat. He's got mouths to feed, no shoes on their feet. But he knows a dark hollow up where he can find a creek. By the light of the moon, down where the cypress grow, he could build him a steel where nobody'd ever go. 'Cause nobody everybody knows that he's brewing sour mash in the still of the night. Shadows dancing round the campfire light. Crackling bushes help keep him awake, but the cock of a gun means his life's at stake. Well, he brews all night so the smoke can't be seen, and he's running all day from Chipley to Defuniak Springs. He's got a souped up flatbed fall down, man, she screams. Yeah, she's burning sour mash corn whiskey for gasoline, and he's brewing sour mash in the still of the night. Shadows dancing round the campfire light. Crackling bushes help keep him awake, but the cock of a gun means his life's at stake. Sitting on the bank with his feet in the creek, he's counting cash he's made from his brew. He's got money for the farm, the wife and the kids, and a little for the church plate too. And he's brewing sour mash in the still of the night. Shadows dancing round the campfire light. Crackling bushes help keep him awake, but the cock of a gun means his life's at stake. He's brewing sour mash in the still of the night. Shadows dancing round the campfire light. Crackling bushes help keep him awake, but the cock of a gun means his life's at stake.